Hi everyone, today we're talking about legibility. And first I'd like to explain what legibility is for people that are not really familiar with the word legibility. Legibility is capable of being read or deciphered, especially with ease as writing or printing, easily readable. As a web designer, it's really important for us to make sure that the texts are readable. And in this video, we're not really concerned about the headings or the titles because there's only less words. But where there's places where there's a lot of text, like the articles, we have to make sure that it's legible. So as you can see, which one is legible? The one that is written in um, all the upper cases, or the ones that has lower cases? It's usually the ones with lower cases, because the ways we read the text is not by reading the letters. We read by reading the shapes, the spaces outside of the upper over here, spaces down here around these the letters, alphabets, and that's how we read the text. If you compare to the uppercases, there isn't these spaces up here. They're all fixed and fixed height, so it's really harder to read. So that's how we read. Next, what makes legibility? The first one is healthy strokes and open counters. Um, Healthy strokes and open counters. What is healthy strokes and open counters? Healthy strokes are these um, alphabets that has these lines from the top to the bottom, like B, I, L, T, the capital L, and these has to be really healthy, meaning really clean. And open counters is these spaces like in the E's and the G's and the B's. So these are really important. I have an example on the left, scanned text. It's not really legible because they don't have healthy strokes and open counters. If you look at this particular A over here, um, you can't really, it's really hard to read it because they don't have open counters. They don't have spaces in between on inside the alphabet where they're supposed to. Okay, so the next one is X height. What is X height? X height is where is the height of the X, and in different fonts, the height of the X's are different. The first font I have on the left is Palatino Linotype, and the right one is called Open Symbol. If you compare these two texts, Open Symbol has a higher X height, and it's usually the font that has higher X height is more legible. Okay, that's number two. And the third one, aperture. Aperture is again, I have these two different font, Palatino type and open symbol. Apertures are the angles of these letters. They have spaces. You can see that C has a big one, E has a little bit, and S has only a little bit of space. And if you compare these two fonts, C and S, the open symbol has a higher aperture. It's more open. There's more spaces between the alphabets, and the E is actually, well, Tino type has a higher one, but usually um, the higher aperture is more legible. So it's better to have a higher aperture when you're considering about the fonts. So that's number three. Next one, the number four is ascenders and descenders. What are ascenders and descenders? Again, I got this slide back. Ascenders and descenders are these these parts that are above the X height. These are ascenders. You can see these are ascenders. and the descenders are the bottoms below the X height. So these ones, and usually ascenders and descenders again um, are the higher ones are more legible. So in this case, the Palatino linotype, the left font, has a higher um, ascender and a descender than the open symbol, the right font. But if you compare these two fonts, I guess it's more legible. On the open symbol, the right font is more legible because they have um, a higher aperture, and also the X height is higher. And although the ascender and descenders are lower, they have smaller ascender descenders than the Palatino linotype. They still have enough to identify the letters and be legible. And that's number 4. And next one, actually the last one, is serif versus sans serif. So in fonts, I think most of you know that there's mainly two different types: the serif fonts and the sans serif fonts. And serif are called these the the edges of these letters on the bottoms and the tops. They have these lines, the edges, and these are called serifs. So these are called serif fonts. And sans serif fonts are the one that doesn't have these edges, the serifs. And sans, the meaning of the sans serif font, the sans means in French without. So without serif. So without these edges. So that's what it is, sans serif fonts. And there's always a misunderstanding between these, that they usually say that sans serif fonts are easier to read, but actually it's the serif fonts that are more easily to read, because you can easily identify the letters with these edges. So that's how you try to identify which font is more legible, and make sure to use really legible fonts when you're um, creating the articles. Make sure you pick a legible font, not the ones that are fancy but not really legible. So that's all for today, and thank you.